The Gothic arches of St. Jude University's lower library cast long, skeletal shadows across the cold marble floor. It was past midnight, and the heavy air smelled intensely of decaying vellum, damp wool, and the metallic tang of old ink. Julian sat alone at the secluded oak desk in alcove 4, his eyes burning from hours of deciphering the cryptic marginalia left behind by Julian Vance, the brilliant philosophy scholar who had vanished from these very cloisters 40 years ago to the exact day. Julian was not merely researching Vance, he was entirely consumed by him, losing himself completely in the labyrinth of his predecessor's thoughts. He wore Vance's vintage tweed coat, a thrift store find that still smelled faintly of pipe tobacco and autumn rain, and he wrote with the exact same antique nib pen using deep purple iron-doll ink. The university administration whispered that Vance had lost his mind, retreating into subterranean catacombs beneath the quad. But Julian believed the truth was stranger. Vance had found a temporal loophole hidden within an uncatalogued Latin manuscript. Outside, relentless rain drummed a heavy, hypnotic rhythm against the stained glass windows, isolating Julian in a complete vacuum of profound silence. He pulled the leather-bound volume closer to the flickering candlelight, watching the amber flame dance on the edges of the page. The ancient parchment crackled like dry leaves under his trembling fingertips. His eyes scanned the final paragraph written in Vance's erratic, frantic script. The architecture of the mind is a recursive loop. What you seek in the dark is merely what your future self has forgotten and left behind. A sudden draft extinguished the candle, and the temperature dropped sharply, turning his breath to visible mist. Then, a soft, rhythmic scratching sound echoed from the dark bookshelves behind his chair, a nib moving rapidly across paper. His heart slammed against his ribs like a trapped bird. He wanted to turn around, but his limbs were anchored by an invisible, paralyzing weight. In the polished brass surface of his heavy inkwell, Julian caught a distorted reflection. Standing right behind him, leaning over his shoulder with an intensity that made his skin crawl, was a man wearing an identical tweed coat. The face was gaunt and hollow-eyed, smiling with a dark melancholy. It was Vance, or perhaps a ghost of his own making. "You took your time getting here," a dry voice whispered softly beside his ear. "The ink is almost dry, and the next scholar is waiting." Before he could draw a breath to scream, shadows wrapped around him like a velvet shroud. The last flame died completely. In the absolute darkness, there was only the slow, methodical scratch of a pen rewriting a history with no end. Thank you so much for watching until the very end. If you enjoyed the atmosphere and want to dive deeper into more mysterious tales with me, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button to support my work. Also, drop a comment below and let me know, what topic or story would you like to see in the next video? Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.